Hello, and welcome to this video presentation. My name is Paul Brett. I'm a Senior Software Support Analyst supporting the Transformation Extender product from IBM. The topic for today's video is ITX functions, left, mid, right, and word. Feel free to reach out to me on popular social media channels at Paul Brett Tech. Using these powerful text selection functions, ITX can be used to grab key information from large text blobs for further transformation or insertion into third-party applications. The left function has two arguments, text to extract from and the number of characters. Mid has three arguments, the text again, the position to start and the number of characters to grab. Right is pretty much the same as left, two arguments, text to extract and number of characters. And word, three arguments, text to search, the word separator and the number of the word to get. It's worth pointing out that this number can be a negative number to search words from the right hand side working backwards. I'm going to start this demonstration in the ITX 10.1.2 Design Studio. As you can see, I have one project called Left, Right, Mid, Word. I have some skeleton files here which I'm going to start the demonstration with. I've got an input type tree, I've got an output schema, I've got an input text file, and most importantly a map source file. Let's look at that. On the input side, I am reading the blob in lines of text items. On the output side, I have a basic XML structure. Currently, I have no rule to deal with each record as it comes. We'll get onto that in a moment. Looking at the input file, I have an agreement from my vendor that they will send me the usernames and their ages. However, they have put no delimiter between the name and the age, so I'm going to be using functions to extract that information as well as other pieces of information that we need. You will note that some of the users have middle names and some of them do not. So let's create a functional map to deal with each line item. I'm going to drag text item down to here and then surround it with a functional map call. Right click and then functional map wizard, create close. Here's my functional map. We've got all these fields to fill in. So let's start with age. Well, we know that age is always going to be over 20 and under 100. So it's always going to be 2 digits, so we can quite happily use the right function in this particular instance to extract what we need. So I've put the function name in there, my source text, which is coming from the input card side, and I'm extracting the right 2 characters. For now, I'm going to insert none if empty in everything else. And I'm going to attempt to build this map, and you will note that I get an error. It says that the output argument of rule does not match the output item subclass. This is because age, if we look on properties, is expecting a number, and the result of the right function is text. So we have to use a 2 number around this as well. Now we can either type that in manually, or we can go down to the functions tab, find 2 number, and just drag and drop it on top of the rule there, and it will encapsulate around everything that's already there. So let's see if that builds now. Build, yes it does, and run. Okay, so we have the skeleton output.xml file now. Let's bring that over here into the editor so we can see our results as we go along. Here's our output.xml file. As you can see, we have lots of blocks of records, and at the moment many of the tags are empty. We haven't done the rules for those yet, but you'll note in each case the age has been filled out for us, 47, 32 and so on. This is coming from the last 2 characters of each record. Now this only works because we have an agreement with our vendor that the age would come as the last two characters of the record. Obviously if they start making changes then these rules won't work, but you need to have a bit of agreement up front as to the structure so that you can do this kind of function extraction. Next up, first name. Now I'm going to use the word function here, so I'm going to drag in one down to first name. I can't drag and drop word because it's a multi-argument function and the other arguments aren't in there yet. So if I put the arguments in there first, we're expecting the string to be infix delimited with spaces, and we're going to want word number 1. Then wrap it in the function that we're talking about, word. And if we save, build and run, you will note that our output.xml has not only the age but also the first name filled in. Okay, how do we get the first initial? Well, I could drag this across again and do a word function on it and then do a left function on it. Or I could just do a plain left function on it. But why bother when we've already got the first name here? I can drag and drop the first name down here and then do a left on this. We're grabbing the first character from the first name, which then becomes the first initial. Build and run. The XML updates. Here we see Wayne W, Ryan R. The first initials are going in lovely. Okay, let's grab the middle name. Middle name is going to be fairly similar to the first name. We're going to use a word function. So I'm going to copy that to my clipboard, paste it in here, but we're going to get the second word. Build and run. Okay, so according to the XML, Wayne's middle name is Conway47. Well, that's not right. That's his surname and his age added together. Wayne doesn't have a middle name, but Ryan does. Ryan has Charlie as a middle name, so the function is working here, but not here. How can we tell this function to only get the second word if there are 3 words in there? I'm going to use a count function. If, I won't put the condition in yet, but this is what we want if the if is correct. We want the second word. So we're going to do count string. We're going to look in 1. We're going to be counting spaces. If it's greater than 1, then there must be 2 or more spaces in there, and we already know that our vendor's only ever going to send us 1 middle name maximum. So if it's greater than 1, it therefore must be 2, and therefore there must be a middle name, and therefore we will extract it. This third part of the if argument, we will put what to do if there is no middle name, but if we leave that blank it will just give us an empty string. So let's press enter on that and build and run. Now you see that Wayne does not have a middle name, but Ryan does. The Charlie is correctly inserted in there. Now we've put all the complication in here. Middle initial, we can drag middle name down. We can do a left function on it, grab the first character, and it will give us the first character of the middle name if it exists, and if it doesn't, it will give us absolutely nothing, which is fine. Let's see that in action. Build and run. You will see middle initial for Wayne is empty. Middle initial for Ryan is C for Charlie. Fabulous. Okay, coming along to surname now. If we were to grab word 2, in many instances that would give us the surname. Admittedly it will give us some rubbish on the end of it as well, but we'll deal with that in a moment. But on the users that have a middle name, we'll get their middle name instead of their surname. We can't use the number 3 because that won't work for people who don't have a middle name. This is where the word function can use minus numbers. So if I just grab in 1 again and go for a word function Again, we're using a space as a delimiter, and we want the -1 word, which means start counting from the right and work backwards. So we want the first word from the right. Let's just pop that in there and see the result. Okay, so Wayne coming up as Conway 47. Well, we know his name's not Conway 47. We know that 47 needs to be lopped off. There are several ways to do this. We can use a size function to work out the size of word, and then use a left function to trim off the exact size -2, and that will get rid of those characters. We can use a leave alpha function to basically drop any numbers, and in fact that is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to scroll through my list to leave alpha, and I'm going to drag and drop that on top of the existing function we have. It wraps around it for me automatically, and if I save, build and run, we look at the output. Wayne's surname is now Conway. Ryan's surname is now McKee, working perfectly. Okay, init password. We've agreed with our vendor that the password is going to be made up of the first 3 characters of the first name minus the initial character, so it will actually be characters 2, 3 and 4, as well as characters 2, 3 and 4 of the surname. So let's grab those. Let's grab the first name first and wrap it in a mid function. So we're going to go for the middle of the word, starting at position 2 and selecting 3 characters. Let's get that first, build and run. So the Wayne's initial password is going to be AYN. Well, that's the first 3 characters dealt with. Let's get the next 3. I'm going to copy that part to my clipboard. Actually, I'm going to cut it out to my clipboard. And then I'm going to drag in the surname and work on that bit. So the surname, again, we want word, sorry, not word. So the surname, again, we want mid from the second character for 3 characters. Let's build and run that piece. So for Wayne Conway, the password is ONW. Okay, that's the final 3 characters that we need. We need to put both bits together. Well, I've still got it in my clipboard, so all I need to do is put in a plus symbol to concatenate the 2 together, paste it back in. So we've got a mid of first name, 2 for 3 characters, and a mid of surname, 2 for 3 characters. Save, build and run. And now that's our XML complete. The username's initial password, we are telling them that it is the second, third and fourth characters of their first name, followed by the second, third and fourth characters of their surname. We don't have to explicitly tell them what their password is, they just need to know the rules, and then they can work it out and change their password on their first login. So there we go. There's my demonstration of using left, right, mid and word to extract text from text blobs. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video presentation today. If you found it interesting and informative, hit that like button. Perhaps leave me a comment. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, as I release content such as this on a regular basis. Feel free to reach out to me on popular social media channels at Paul Brett Tech. Thank you.